Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Today we are joined by Raja, and Raja and I have known each other for a couple of months. I love what Raja does, and one of the things that I love most is that he has shown up even with his stutter, which, I don't want to be the one to always point that out, but I just love that because it says to me that if you can do that, then there's no reason why the rest of us can't keep showing up, right? And today we are going to dive into imposter syndrome, the truth about executive presence, and how inclusivity drives profitability. There's no pretending and no fluff because you're on Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Raja, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background, what brought you here to where you are in your business right now?
Okay, certainly happy to. And first of all, Coleen, thank you so much for inviting me to your group. You have a great leader right here, so I want to give her a big thanks and a big click of the victory bell. And by the way, happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. A little bit about me. Yes, I'm a sci-fi nerd. I love it. And those are my people. I live the triangle life. Cancer research for the mind, karate for the body, and music for the soul. So when I get up on stage and I start singing, "This is the moment, this is the day, when I send all my doubts and demons on their way," people are blown away because they didn't realize that internal power is behind the voice that you hear sometimes stumbling and tripping up in front of you. And yet, because of this, now I am able to speak on any stage, anytime, anywhere, because I found a way to transform my ability to transform that fear, flip it into my superpower. And I want that for all of you as well. What do I love to do on the side? Obviously, I love karate. I was a world champion at 16. I made it to the Olympics at age 18, but I didn't go not because I was afraid of competition, not because I was afraid of moving to Colorado Springs for 2 years to train and compete alone, but I didn't want to get interviewed on TV. And so for all of you, that's that hidden trauma of people with invisible disabilities. So we're not going to dwell too much on that today because I want to show you by example that I have now in the past 3 years found my voice. And I want that for all of you. So with a show of hands, I want to ask everybody out here, who here has ever felt imposter syndrome? Like, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I shouldn't be in this room, maybe I'm not the person that they should be paying attention to. Yes, I see basically every hand go up. All right. And for those who are too shy, it's okay. I'm here for you. And for imposter syndrome, it's a name that's been around ever since the 50s. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. And today, I thought I'd do something unique for you all, because think about it this way. We have right now, an opportunity to start to transform yourself. Now, think about this. A lot of leaders over-explain because they want to sound smart, right? Sound familiar? But imposter syndrome makes people kind of like hedge their bets and apologize, and it dilutes their authority. So what happens when you do that? Teams lose trust, and then communications lack clarity. So when I talk about inclusive leadership, it's often treated almost like a moral topic only, but I want to pre-frame that into something else. It is a strategic business opportunity. So when I talk about people like me with speech challenges, or someone else with ADHD or hearing or sight impairment, or they're in a wheelchair or something else, or they have some sort of a chronic condition like fibromyalgia or Crohn's, or they may need some accommodations. But what happens is, because you give them that accommodation, their loyalty is above all others, and they appreciate so much. They overwork. They give you so much productivity. And that's what I want to share with everybody. The bottom line here is going to be, when leaders are unclear, teams hesitate. When leaders hesitate, businesses lose productivity, they lose speed, confidence, and ultimately they lose profits, right? So put a 1 in the chat if you think businesses, above all else, need profit. Put a 1. And let's see who thinks that. Yep, 1111. And by the way, just like in the old movie, the Wall Street, when I think Michael Douglas was talking about, greed is good. It's a good separator. It makes you focus on the right things. Steve Jobs used to talk about signal to noise. That is, what is the number one thing that you need to do in your business today, and focus on that, and all others, let it go to the side. Now, that's hard to do for all of us, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you for a few minutes, and we're going to briefly go through. I have an 8-week program, and the first week of it talks about imposter syndrome. So we're going to skim through that first week slides, and I want to show you how you can change your imposter syndrome and your relationship with your internal self-talk. So this is a little bit educational format. This is going to be a little bit workshop. It's also going to be a little bit concert, because we're going to be singing a few things along the way too. And I want everybody to chime in, okay? Because when you engage, that's when your brain learns. That's when you retain it. So take a look. And let me see if we can see it here. There it is. And I'm sharing. Let me know. Put a yes in the chat if you can see the slide deck. And I'm not going to give you a 45-minute presentation. That's not what this is for. All right. There you go. All right. I see the yeses coming in. Thank you. All right. Now, as we're here, in my, what I call the EPOS, the Executive Presence Operating System, trademarked, the first week I talk about crushing imposter syndrome. So there are different ways people face imposter syndrome. And I want you all to think about, what kind do you face? And when you realize that, then you can actually start realizing what it is. So we're going to skip through. We're not going through this. Here we go. We're going to go right to here. There are 5 main imposter archetypes. So right here, the perfectionist. They set impossibly high standards, and success never quite feels enough. The mind shift that you need here is excellent and executed instead of perfect and paralyzed, right? You can get 80% and still win. You don't need to be perfect every time. The next imposter archetype, the expert. The trigger is they have to know everything. They seek more credentials and credentials and credentials. Ever meet one of these people that they are learning constantly, and they're always sharing the latest, greatest thing that they've learned, and they have proof, they have certifications. But instead of that, think about expertise as actually knowing enough to add unique value. Because it's not enough just to show the credentials, just to say, hey, I am a 7th degree Grandmaster. That's great. Who cares? I don't even have my students call me Grandmaster Vaidya. It doesn't matter anymore, because my success is not my credentials. My success is watching other people grow, because I'm adding my unique value to them, right? Now, the third archetype, the soloist. This is framing authority as influence, not independence. So the soloist is always trying to do everything alone. They don't understand that you can work together. They think that asking for help means you're weak. But there's a great African proverb that says, to go somewhere fast, you go alone. You go somewhere far, it takes a village, right? I see Coleen smiling. Yes, that's right. You know it. You know it. I see Carl. Can't wait to hear you more. And Sarah, fantastic. I love that. I don't see the top of your head. I wonder if there's a body. I don't know. No, there's not. She's just a talking head. All right. So see how we're having fun along the way. Don't be the soloist. Connect with others, and you will grow faster. All right. The natural genius, archetype 4. They judge by self-ease. If you grew up being naturally smart, everything came easy to you, and all of a sudden, when something actually becomes a challenge, you say, "Oh, this can't be right." I guess I'm just not good enough. Well, you are being too hard on yourself. So once again, this is another imposter archetype where struggle is supposed to show you that you're growing. I told my students at karate, why do we do push-ups? Well, and they tell me, well, when I do push-ups, it hurts the next day. I said, oh, you know what? That's a great thing. You know why? That's your body's way of telling you that you're growing. Oh, that's why we do push-ups. Yes. So notice I sound like a kindergartner teacher at times. That's okay. You know why? Let's simplify the way we explain things. And when we do that, leadership is also clarity, not cleverness. You know, I can tell people like NADPH stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, or I can talk about ATP, like adenosine triphosphate, and I love DNA. Don't even get me started on deoxyribose nucleic acid. Yes, I'm a scientist. I know all these different techno babble. Or I can say ATP is an energy type that your body uses to help your cells grow. Done. Isn't that more effective than explaining all the things? And by the way, everybody loves TLAs, right? What are TLAs? Can anybody put in the chat, what are TLAs? What are TLAs? Anybody know? There's a little tongue-in-cheek here. TLAs stand for three-letter acronyms. Yes, we got tons of TLAs in a lot of events. And by the way, I worked with a lot of PhDs over my years, 26 years in cancer research. And they are full of TLAs and different sorts of themes and word drops. We don't need that. Just explain exactly what you mean clearly, right? And the last archetype here, the superhero, right? Superman, superwoman, etc. They try to excel in everything in their life simultaneously. And they fear being exposed, like, oh no, people are going to see that I'm struggling. People are seeing I'm not going to be able to do anything perfectly. Your authority comes from your depth of impact, not the quantity of your activity. So have you heard the difference between activity and productivity? Someone put that in the chat for me. What is more important, activity or productivity? Type in the chat what you think is more important, activity or productivity. Let's see what people think. One or two. Let's just make this a one or a two. If you think activity, press one. If you think productivity, press two. Productivity, productivity, productivity. I see activity. I see two. Good. All right, great. All right, fantastic. So the answer here is productivity, because you can do a lot of activity, but it doesn't make a result. So in other words, you're not creating something that benefits. You don't create something that creates an impact. A lot of people think because they're just busy, but busy without getting to a result is a lot of inefficient activity. And that's what we're trying to get to. So now that you've seen your archetypes here, when we get to this, put in the chat what you think your main primary archetype is as an imposter. The perfectionist, the expert, the soloist, the natural genius, or the superhero. And think about what it is that we can do to create that mind shift for you. Remember, I talk about black belt mind shift. You know, I live by a black belt code. Everybody that's worked with me knows I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. And when I do, I apologize, and let's figure out a plan to fix it, and let's move forward, right? And by the way, when I apologize, I never say I'm sorry. You know what I say? I say, forgive me. There's a little subtle influence hack right there for you. When you say I'm sorry, you're accepting culpability and blame. But when you say forgive me, it shifts more into a command mode. So now you as a leader, you're saying the same thing, but in a higher function. You're not going to say I'm sorry. You're going to say, forgive me, but this meeting ran over and I'm here to serve now. See the difference between, I'm sorry I'm late. It's a different energy in the room. Now, as leaders, you're going to learn a few of these different ways of expressing yourself as a leader so that you can grow and lead the audience and make sure you are promoting that buy-in for them. Have you ever thought about what is the neuroscience? Now, I'm a scientist. I love explaining the science of it, but I'm going to do this very simply for you. All right? In your body, you have something called, in your brain, you have something called the amygdala, right? Your brain's alarm system. It perceives threats just like a social predator. So imagine 10,000 years ago, you're walking through the forest and there's two roads. One side has a saber-toothed tiger that you heard about, and one side has fresh fruit and waterfalls. Where are you going to go? Well, right now, when you get a email at 8:57 in the morning from the vice president of your company and says, "Hey, can you give the 9 o'clock presentation? Here's the slide deck." What? Now we got we got the bell ringing in our head. Alarm system, imposter syndrome. Okay, now we're going to either we go to fight or flight or freeze, because some people freeze because they get into panic mode and they don't know what to do, right? So one of these issues is that because you're brilliant at your desk, but in the moment you turn blank, you freeze up, it holds you back, right? All right, the second one here, this negativity bias. Your brain weighs negative experiences 5 times more than positive ones. It's a safety mechanism. It keeps you safe. Now, in this modern world, we're not getting attacked by a tiger, right? There's no wild animals wandering the parking lot next to my Prius, right? But sometimes we're thinking, will I get there in time to get on the charger before all the spots get filled up? Will I get to the cafeteria in time so I don't have the long line so I can get to my next meeting at 1 p.m.? So this negativity bias starts to manifest because we're trying to find ways to avoid it and get around it. In some ways, it's good, but don't dismiss your luck, right? Because what happens is you're starting to chart every mistake as a proof of inadequacy, and it's not. It's not. It's a safety mechanism. It's a safety bias for your life. And in some ways, it actually will help you. And then lastly here, this comparison network. This is have you ever seen other people, and I've seen this in karate school all the time. Oh, well, Johnny's kid is learning faster than Andy's kid. That's not fair, right? And imagine, or throw up. All right, you fight or flight or freeze or throw up. Okay, we'll add that to it. But right now in the social media age, imagine this. Our network is hyper activated every single day. We've heard that right now our attention spans have dropped. It used to be 11 seconds, now it's 6 seconds. Now we're dropping below that with goldfish. And actually now, I think a goldfish is now 5 seconds, and the average attention span on TikTok is 3 seconds. So if you get up there and your marketing is not clear and right to the point, you're going to lose them right away. You're going to lose them right away. So here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but have you gotten great value right so far? Please put value in the chat. And what is your biggest takeaway so far? Great.
I'm just going to add in here, Raja. I think that what you just said, that the negative gets 5 times more attention, makes me really want to focus on feeding in more positive. And also just the reframe clarity on the imposter syndrome, because I like to say I don't have it, but then I feel like there are a lot of times when I feel like I need more information. I need more value before I present things. So there's that in the expert mode, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And here's a cool thing. A lot of us think that we have to be perfect all the time, or we have to be the best all the. No. You have to add value. One thing I've learned over the years is that I used to be ashamed of my speech impediment, but now I've learned something else. Now here's what I want you to do. We're gonna practice. We're gonna have a little fun here today, okay? And we're gonna go clap, clap down, clap, clap down, clap, clap down. We will listen. Let me hear it again. We will listen. Yes, there we go. All right. Now, remember I told you this is part concert, right? So one of the hardest skills you're going to learn as a leader, all right? The average speaking rate of most normal business people is around 125 to 150 words per minute. Now, I am, deathfully aware of a lot of the speaking statistics, because growing up, I had to figure out what can I do differently to become more fluent? What can I do better so that people can hear me and not judge me for the way that I speak? Because when I was younger, when I was in second grade, my second grade teacher told the entire class, and this is not polite now, but that I was mentally retarded because I used to get into 30-second speech blocks. They put me into a special ed for 4 years. And I finally broke out of that because I said, what can I do differently? How can I show what I know? Well, by sixth grade, I had the highest scores in math and science in the entire, not just my entire class, but all 5 classrooms in the sixth grade. They realized their mistake, and it took them that long because they prejudged me. And a lot of us have been prejudged, right? Raise your hand if you've been prejudged. Anybody out there been prejudged? You walk in the room and people like don't know exactly who you are. They're like, I hope they get to know the real me, right? Because sometimes we all feel like a pineapple, kind of like prickly on the outside, but if you just get past the outside, you see all the sweet goodness inside, yeah? And so as I learned how to do that, I started to connect more and speak more. By the time I got to high school, all my friends were in the gifted program except me. So I had to fight with the school principal and teachers how to get into that. Now, I want you to think about this. When was the last time you had to fight for your right to speak, for your right to be in the right place, right? I had to bring my father in to talk to the principal. They said, oh, I'm sorry, you may have to pay for the test. We don't have the budget. You know, like my dad was a very successful dentist. He said, okay, fine. What else? That's it. And the principal finally realized he was holding back my life because of a budgetary line item. Are you kidding? So they tested me. They you know, I'm not here to brag. They found out my IQ is 160. They held me back for years because of a perceived notion of who I was. And I don't want any of you to feel that also. So I'd like you to try something here. When we walk into a room, now let's talk about body language, right? Because they say that your communication is perceived as about 7% your words, about 38% your tone, but 55% your body language. So this is the part where we start to stand up and work on something, all right? So for those who can, I'd like you to stand up and, that's right, say hi to Han and Chewy. And we're going to imagine we are walking in to the room. Ready? So here's what I want you to do. Everybody do this. Put your shoulders down, lean in, look at the floor, hold your hands. Now, women, when they stand in a party, they feel insecure. They put the human beings protect their private organs. Women tend to cover their breasts. They're hiding like this. Men put their hands in front of their jewels and they're standing by the side. This is very low quality leadership, right? You don't expect someone walking in like this to be the one that's in charge. Now, say that. We come in, and here's what I want you to do. Hi guys, I'm your new senior VP. We're gonna go through the data set, and we're gonna go through the projects, and there's 3 of them over there. And that, how did that sound? Did that sound like a leader? Did that look like a leader? Right? No. So tell me, what did you feel like in the chat? Type in, what did you think that looked like? What were some of the red flags that you saw that saying, well, why is this person leading us? What were some of the red flags? And now, yeah, tone, very sure. Voice quality is a little bit low, not weak. Yeah, weak looking down. Insecurity. Yeah, you can feel all that, right? All right. Now, I'm going to turn on the light switch. Ready? Welcome, everyone. I'm your new VP of Operations, and here's what we're going to work on. Today we're going to work on the data set. We're going to work on manifesting our marketing, and we're going to talk to who are going to be our new team leaders for the next project. Let's begin. What was the difference? What was the difference? Tell me the difference now. I'm the same person, same word, same voice. But I did something a little bit differently. What did I do? I took charge. He looked sure. Yes. What else? Anything else? How was the body language? What was different? Yes, I squared my shoulders. See, I wasn't this way. I wasn't like this. There's psychologically, when you see someone like this, they look a little bit insecure, like they're trying to protect themselves. There's something in the literature, and I have to find it. The longer your ear to your shoulder ratio, it makes you look more confident. So when you're sitting in, I know one client I had that didn't understand this and would always sit in like this on Zoom meetings like this. And I'd say, well, that doesn't look very leadership. It doesn't look like a good quality. Why would clients hire you when you're like this, all crunched in? And I told her, you need to get up there, right? And regardless, you don't need makeup, you need a voice, you need a sound, you need to project authority. So here's one thing that you can do every single day now, and I want you to do this from now on for the rest of your life. Have you ever walked through an archway in your home, in your office, in any building? Yeah, there are doorways, there are arches, right? Well, watch this. This is my shoulders, and when I go through an arch, what I do is, army pose. Boom. See the difference? I just clicked up my entire framework from my crown all the way down to my spine, and what it does is it projects authority because now people can see you standing up straight. It doesn't crunch your throat like this and let your voice get stuck in here. By opening up here as well, you see the difference? Can you hear that difference? That when I'm speaking, I'm connecting more with the audience. Now, these are all things that have to work in practice. It's not enough just to sit behind a Zoom desk. That's why I have a sit-stand station. So when I'm presenting, I'll always like to go half and half. I'll sit half the meeting, I'll stand half the meeting. And if you do that, all of a sudden, what happens is people start to see you as more energetic, more active. Here's something else I want you to do. Where are my hands? Where are my hands? They're not here, they're not fiddling. Thanks for coming here and glad to, come in. My hands are fiddling, right? So people are getting distracted. I remember one person gave a audition at the opera company and they were singing and for some reason they had their pinky out. And I remember them just doing like this and I remember just thinking, no one's listening to him sing. They're all looking at this little extended peninsula, right? I saw somebody standing like this, and you can't see it down here. They're leaning on one foot, and they're pointing their toes up in the air, thinking that that's sort of like a power pose or something. That is not a power pose, right? So here's what I want you to do with your power pose. When you stand, you put your feet shoulder width. So just like in karate, we do the same thing in Tang Soo Do. Ready stance. Boom, right here. Guess what? You just learned a power pose. That's what we're doing. We're preparing to do battle. But also on top of that, we are preparing to speak and we're preparing to project ourselves. Our hands can be to our sides when we're speaking. And if you point, if you're a man leaning like this, it doesn't look very manly. If you're a woman and you want to project authority, this also does not project too much authority. We want you to give your body forward so that creates engagement with the audience. Now, think about it this way. Have you ever seen Barack Obama speak? Here is the power core right here, right? Sort of like a rectangle, okay, from here to here. This is where the hands can be. Now, if you don't want to speak with your hands crossed like this. There's data set and this and that. What you can do is one hand. This, this, this. See what I'm doing here? Palms open. Palms open. If I need to keep one down, that's okay. You either have two hands open like this, palm open, or one hand and you're pointing to where you're going and what you're doing next. Very good. All right. Now, when you want to connect with the audience, more open palm language. My hands are here. You can do the steeple right here. I've seen a lot of people do this here. So Barack Obama does this. Starts here. This is what's going to happen, and you bring it right back. And here is this, dot, 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 bring it right back. And we've seen presidents of all kinds in the past. Hands here, sometimes hands here, sometimes hands right here, right? But the point is the hands do not distract, they accentuate what they're saying. Sort of like, notice how I had a slide deck. I'm not going to spend 45 minutes on a slide deck, right? I spent maybe 5 minutes on it just to give you some icing, but I'm the cake. So when you present, I want you to think about this. You are the cake. The icing can change. It doesn't matter if it's vanilla cake or chocolate ice cream or icing or strawberry icing. The cake stays the same. You're the cake, right? People come for the cake and you add the icing so that you had some flavor to it. And from here, I want you to think about this. When I'm going up in the north, I'm going to talk a little bit faster. When I go to Manhattan, a lot of people start to speak like this. I've had to practice a lot so that I can make sure that I can follow in the same language, in the same tone that people want to follow along with. But when I get a presentation in Georgia, I'm going to head down south. Psychologically, you talk like those Yankees, you're not going to sound like the people in the room. They have a more deliberate style of talking. Now, I'm having a little fun doing my accents because I do voiceover work for movies. But when I give a presentation and then I end it down there with y'all come back, you hear? They know I'm one of them psychologically. They don't have to guess, is he really one of us? Notice how, because I was able to do that, I was able to create rapport with the audience quickly. Does that make sense? So right now, if this is vibing right now, type vibe in the chat for me. And notice also, I'm keeping everyone engaged. I'm asking questions, I'm singing, I'm doing weird things. Yes. Is some of it off the wall? Absolutely, because only an out-of-the-box thinker keeps the engagement of the audience the entire time. If I were to stand there, arms crossed, and just give my presentation, and there's my PowerPoint slide deck, you can just follow along, and I can read the slides. Sorry, I worked with too many robotic PhDs that did exactly that. I don't want that for you. You don't look like a leader doing that, right? So at this point, I'll take a few questions. What is one thing that you had a challenge with in your speaking or your business? And I'm going to give you a 5-second fix right now. And it's up to you to expand on that. But I do this segment on my show, the Unbox Me Today show. I do something called the 60-second mind shift. Here we're going to do a 5-second fix, right? Because truly, once you make a decision at the power of thought, we can fix things. And I haven't even gotten into my AI tools yet. So what questions do we have for me so far?
Okay, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say that at my seat. So I'm always readjusting in my seat. My feet don't quite reach the ground.
Okay. All right, 5-second fix. Get a footstool. Done.
Okay, next.
Great. Next up, come on, guys. This is your chance to fix your life in 5 seconds or less. Who's next?
Nicole
Right,
or Sarah, we can't hear you.
Sarah, you just got to come off mute.
Sorry. Yes. I'm always humming.
You're always humming?
She also says
when I talk.
Okay, so what's your question? So that's a statement, not a question. What is your question?
My question is, how do I stop that?
How do you stop? Simply, okay? find something else to do in place of it. So what you can do is this. You can get, when you feel yourself humming, I just grab something off of my desk. Here is a spool of tape. I just put on my finger, and when I feel like humming, spin it.
Okay.
And nobody can see it behind the Zoom room. You just solved your problem.
Thank
Okay,
you.
5-second fix done. Next.
Who's
I also
next?
have a question that I can solve in 5 seconds. Life, earth-shattering questions. And this is how we change lives, my friends, right? At the speed of thought. All right. Okay. I don't see Shafayet or Sanket. Carl, you have anything for us? If not, I'll move on in just a second. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about some of these things. Like, I want to get back to a little bit about inclusivity in your business. A lot of us are not business owners of corporations. We're the solopreneurs, or we have a very small team. We got VAs, right? Make sure you're not doing everything alone. Have someone that has tasks that you can do and that you measure their KPIs. One thing that helps is that think about yourself as a strategist. So if you see in the corner up here in my background, you can't quite see the words. I'll have to make them a little bit larger. It says Raja Vaidya, strategic communications expert. That is by design. I'm a strategist. I'm not a motivational speaker. I think I used to be, because everything was about rah rah, sis boom ba, and get up on stage and make everybody laugh and make them cry, and then a couple of days later they forget everything. I don't want to be a motivational speaker. What I am now is I'm a demotivational speaker. And what I mean by that is I find the holes in the bucket and I help you plug them up, right? That's something I got from my father. My father, he's 81 years old. He just retired from a dentistry after 55 years last January. He finally closed his practice after 55 years. And last year also we lost my mom. So this was actually yesterday. We just had a service. So, God bless, mom, miss you. And so for someone to go that long, to continuing and laughing and making people connect with them, one of the things my dad always taught me is that, Raja, you have to fill the holes in your bucket. But you have to measure also what you're losing, because if you don't know what you're losing at what rate, you don't know how much effort you have to put into it. So there's something I'm going to teach you about this formula called reverse attrition. So someone put that in the chat for me, please. Reverse attrition. And I learned this from a martial arts business summit, but applies basically to every business. And what it means is this. Every month, you're going to lose clients. So let's say, for example, just for round numbers, you have 100 clients. Now, some of you have 10, some of you have 1,000, I don't know. Let's just pick for a round number, you have 100 clients. Now, every month, you have a 3% attrition rate. That means 3 clients are leaving you. And that's just normal. People are going to leave you. 3 to 5% are going to leave you. Right? So let's keep this simple, 3%. 3 people a month are going to leave your community, your subscription, your client, coaching package, whatever. Now, what a lot of people do is say, oh, I have to replace those 3 people. No problem. Oh, wait a second. So here's the problem with that. Doesn't inflation go up every year? Doesn't the cost of tools go up every year? Doesn't the cost of gasoline go up every year? Doesn't the cost of a gallon of milk go up every year? Does the cost of cars go up every year? Yeah, everything is going up. So why would you like to replace exactly what you lost and try to stay at the same level? See, everybody has a book out there, How to Live to 104. And one of the core concepts in that he talks about is, and I heard this from Shawshank also, get busy living or get busy dying. Your cells in your body are in a constant state of decay and growth. Well, so is your business. And this is where this reverse attrition rate comes in. So if you're losing 3% per month, that means Over the course of a year, you're losing about 36%. Whoa, wait a second. You mean I just lost more than a third of my business in a year? Could be. Could be. So in other words, you trying to keep 3% every month, you're never going to be able to keep up. It's going to snowball and get worse for you, because then it also ruins team morale, and you don't have systems that continue that growth. So here's what I want you to do. Think about, what did it take for you to land 3 clients, right? So that's your CAC, your CAC, your customer acquisition cost. And once you realize what your CAC is, say it cost me $20, $50, $100 to land a client. Well, how much advertising did you do to get that client? So that goes into ROAS, return on ad spend. Now, some of you build things organically. That's fine. Organic works, but it's slower, and you can't measure KPIs through it. I recommend doing some ads to build your business, because then you can measure impressions, click-through rate, from click to landing, from click to a webinar, from click to a conversion, and all that adds up to your return on ad spend. And then your CAC can either increase or decrease. Now, say I know every single month I have a client that leaves, and that means I lose $1,000 in a month. That's $3,000 I'm going to lose. Well, if my CAC is $50, I don't care. Some people say, oh my God, it costs $50 to land a client. That's so expensive. Then you're a consumer, you're not a business owner. We have to think about return on our investment. The ROI is the ROAS. It's the return on the ad spend that we spend, so that we can get those clients in, right? So that $3,000 we're losing every month, if we can spend $600 a month on ads, 20 bucks a day, that's it, 20 bucks a day. If you do that, would you be willing to spend $600 to make $3,000? That's a 5x ROAS. Does that sound like a good win to you? Yes, no? Anybody? Yes. All right, good. I'm glad I'm hearing the yeses here. You get the victory bell, right? Because you're paying attention, you're engaged, and you're seeing that, yes, this is knowledge that we hadn't thought about before, or maybe we had, but it's not as clearly stated before. You must have a way to redefine how you grow your business. So now you know what your CAC is, you know what your ROAS is, now your click-through rate, etc. I'm not going to go through all those details. There's 50 KPIs that you can measure. I'm going to focus on just those 2 for now. Now, your return on your ad spend. If you're spending money on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, right? There are different ways. If you want video content that converts, that's YouTube. If you want to do more reels and shorts, that's probably Instagram and TikTok. If you want, I've seen great results come for me from Facebook and Instagram for coaching clients. So for me, that's my wheelhouse. And because of that, you have to now start thinking about, what is my targeting rate? If I want to grow my business now 3%, I don't spend $600, now I spend $1,200. I spend $40. Now, instead of losing 3% each month, I'm gaining 3% each month. So you see how that works? We go from backwards. At the end, we're losing this many number of clients, which means this much cost. We go back to our CAC. How much does it cost to get each client? Well, if it costs me $100 per client, that means if I spend $600, I can regain those clients and get it back. That's why knowing what your ROAS and what your CAC is important business metrics. And you need to also practice speaking so that you convert them. So it's not just about giving a free summit or free webinar once in a while. What is your conversion rate? How are you converting them? Are they going from leads to conversions? Because you can spend $1 million a month in leads. Whoa, I made 1 million leads a month. That's great. How much converted? Because if you don't have that conversion rate, then it's not working for you. So I have 2 free things I'm going to share with you today, and this, you're going to love this. All right, let me see if I can find this right here. And this is a little, let's see. Just got a 404 error. Oh, there it is. I just had to refresh. All right. Uh, let me know when you can all see my screen, and we're going to spend 2 minutes on this, and we're going to go back and then we're going to finish up with last questions here. All right. So this is a platform that I build AI tools on. It's called Lovable. And this is a tool that you all can try out for free. It's called Speaker Pro Tool. And it's your complete speaker toolkit, basically like your business toolkit. You learn how to find and build connections and how to refine your messaging. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but what I want to do for you is this. When you put this in, you get a speaker profile, you put in your materials, and it's going to make a positioning statement for you, right? And then once you get that all in, it finds events for you. So let's see. Let's look at entrepreneur business. Yeah? We're looking for events that are like, say, the state level, 5 months out. It's going to help you find places where you can speak, where they have gotten paid to speak before. So this is a powerful way for you to connect and to grow your business. Get those leads out there. Look at this. Florida State Minority Enterprise Development Conference pays $2,500 to $5,000 in years past. Texas Women in Business Annual State Summit coming up in October, $3,000 to $6,000. Virginia Small State Business Summit, $2,000 to $4,500, etc. So there you go. California Small Business Day, right? If you're a solopreneur, you're a small business, aren't you? Well, if I click that, not only can I send it to my CRM that I built in the back office, you can create a keynote with this. So I send it to the keynote builder. That is the next tab here. And when I click here, that creates a framework. It doesn't write your keynote because I don't want anybody to use AI slop and regurgitate it. I want you to use your own brain. You are smart. Don't trust the AI, right? But use it as a framework, as a tool to help you find everything that you need. So now that you do that, suggest a keynote title. So that means you can use this for a program or for a launch or a lead magnet too. Target audience analysis, key theme alignments, hooks, core message, 3 to 5 points that you can talk about. And here's an email sequence for 3 weeks. Email 1, email 2 a week later, email 3 2 weeks later. So now this helps me to figure out how to connect with them too. And this is also an article generator for you too. So I just made the last one. I talk about healthcare and I talk about using AI tools in healthcare. So I just wrote an article about the landscape of healthcare in biopharma. But when you put in your information, you'll get your information, right? And it creates a voicemail script. So when you talk to the event planner, you call them, you send them this article in email, and you leave a voicemail. So far, is that pretty cool?
Yes.
Put a 5 in the chat if you thought that was awesome. It's 5 by 5 by 5 day, right?
Absolutely.
Pretty cool, huh? And I have one more thing I want to share with you. And there we go. There we go. All right. So this is my website I made also through AI tools. I'm transforming inclusivity into profitability for Fortune 500 companies. Notice all these things. These are all these companies that have been impacted by my keynotes, my workshops. And on the top, right here, I have 2 things I want to show you that are free gifts for you. Number 1, in the downloads and FAQ, you click that, scroll down to the bottom, and here's some free downloadable resources for you. All right, grab that. One's a little ebook, one is communication, executive terms that you avoid, one is professional places to speak as a speaker, and one is an MP3 audio that you can download for free. And if that wasn't enough, on the top right, click authority score, and this is where it gets fun. There's a free assessment for you to see where is your speaking authority. Now in business, if you don't speak with authority, people are not going to listen, clients are not going to buy. And I'm going to click this real fast. I'm not going to answer the questions in any order. But when you do that, what you'll find is that it's going to give you a result in about 2-3 minutes. And let's see here. I'm going to mute that. And when you do that, it's only 12 questions. Done. All right. Now, because I randomly picked all of those, it said my authority score is 56 out of 100. You're building momentum, need some growth there. Each of these pillars of your speaking authority is something you can work on: knowledge, influence, and confidence. So, in your knowledge pillar, here's 3 shifts that you can make to improve your knowledge content. In audience buy-in, which is influence, here's 3 things you can do, 3 strategies you can use to do that. And conveying confidence, there it is. And if you scroll at the bottom after that, there's a Toastmasters timer tool that I made. So you click here, you practice, it measures your filler words, ahs, so's, like, it tells you your rate of speech. And once you practice your speech, the speech timer, you can put in 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and it'll record your transcript. So then you can click a button and download your transcript. So
Nice.
all that powerful, my friends.
Yes, I love that. Will you drop
get some
that in the
value.
chat, please? Just drop
All
in
right.
the chat how we can reach those. And
Certainly.
this has been amazing. I appreciate you coming. There's a lot of value in that. Definitely very enlightening. Does anybody have a quick question? We need to wrap it up, but does anybody have a quick question? No questions. Okay.
Well, I got one more thing for you then. Because I do AI training every week now, I'd like to invite you all to come there. It's free. There's no subscription cost or anything. Click here on Wednesdays at 11, and there's the Zoom link. So join us, and we're going to work on what is the newest, best AI strategy and tools. Some of the tools are mine, and many are not. Many are from things you can use online, how to create AI agents, how to use skills, how to use AI in your business. And so I just want to give that back, pay it forward, and let's all win together.
I love that. So everybody go ahead and save the chat so that you have those tools handy. And this has been Monday Morning Business Foreplay. If today's conversation has helped you see something differently, make one clearer decision, or take a meaningful step forward, then it's done exactly what it was supposed to do. I appreciate all of you joining us. And thank you so much, Raja, for sharing your expertise with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone.